Okay, so I've been slacking on the podcast stuff because I just got hella busy and I had other stuff on the editing and mixing list. And I'm selfish every once in a while because I need to do that. That said, on this one we have Alejandro and Bridgett Nesfield. Local Northern Virginia cats. Check it out.
Si tú no sabes bailar, si estás pelea con el son, si voy me marcando el paso y estás seguro de lo más sabrosón, voy pa' la rumba, la rumba, la rumba, porque me llama, me llama, me llama, y necesito que suene el coro para que se ponga a vacilar y suavecito, oye cómo va mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, oye cómo va mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, tan daran dararan darara tan 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 daran dararan darara tan 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 tan. Esto se pone caliente, esto se baila apretado, 4 pasitos pa'l frente y un meneíto de lado. Voy pa' la rumba, la rumba, la rumba, porque me llama, me llama, me llama, y necesito que suene el coro para que se ponga a vacilar y todo el mundo, oye cómo va mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, oye cómo va mi ritmo bueno pa' gozar. Mulata, tan daran dararan darara tan tan taratuna tan 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 daran dararan darara tan 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 tan. DMV area. Yeah.
Okay, you have to one-up me with that DMV instead of Nova.
Yeah. Gotta represent.
That's
all three. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys play together a lot, right? Like
yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, we got together like last year.
Beginning of last year. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was because like I had a weekly thing, and so I wanted to like get tight and be able to like sound good with like guitar and voice.
Yeah.
And like really try to like push conventionally, just let me just like run a tune with different people every other week or so.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. I think there's like almost like a psychic level of like understanding that I want to achieve, and like I think we're pretty close, where it's like I can kind of tell in her voice where she's going to go on things, and I like, try to react accordingly.
Not just like listening to you guys like take levels is like yo.
Dude, thank you.
That's hella sick.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome.
Makeup blush that they added,
Awesome. I feel like another thing too about it is that because a lot of vocalists work with pianists primarily, and I think it's because so many pianists early on get a lot of working as doing accompaniment work, like in lessons or otherwise. And there's also this like sort of, I don't know if this is necessarily true, but it seems like there's an onus put on pianists to be able to work with vocalists really well, like in general. Like I've heard people be like, oh, you haven't been working with vocalists, like what are you doing, like you're missing this whole market. And like I'm like, they don't need to do that if they don't want to.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's definitely stylistic differences, but there's also like repertoire differences. And so like for me, coming from like a classical background, I was working with a couple of pianists, and I feel like the piano and the voice, when I hear them together, I mean they sound great together, but there's like they sound a little too similar to me. So I really like how distinct the voice sounds with a string instrument like a harp or a guitar, because it's like two very different timbres.
Yeah.
Although Alejandro plays so lyrically, like he really like knows the tunes, he knows all the lyrics, which is awesome. And so like,
Thank you.
you know, and he's like supporting you so beautifully. So he has a lot of vocalist playing tendencies, you know. He makes the guitar sound like a voice, but yeah, the timbres are different enough. I like that sound a lot.
So
Yeah.
do you prefer like guitar over piano?
Yeah. I mean, for this kind of music, definitely. And I also feel like I like how percussive the guitar can be. I mean, the piano also, but like, I really like how percussive the guitar can be. It's, yeah.
I think that's another misconception that people tend to have. They tend to correlate guitar more to like string instruments, but I have always been kind of under the impression that it's closer to a percussive, like a pitch percussion, than it is to like a violin.
Yeah.
That's why guitar is dope, man, because like everyone comes from a different background. It's not like, oh, classical training. Oh, it's like everyone comes from a different thing. Everyone's playing a different kind of guitar. Everyone's got a different setup of pedals.
Yeah.
There are 5 million ways to play the same major scale.
Yeah.
Can everybody approaches it differently? And
Yeah, and like honestly, like I think the fun part about it is that you can never get bored, or at least I hope so. I've only been playing guitar for so long, right? But like if I play a major scale one way for like a year, and then I'm there, I'm like, okay, I've played it these 6 ways this one time, or like I'm so used to it in my bag of tricks, and then the next year I'm there, I'm like, yo, actually let me focus on like wider gaps, you know, between my fingerings, and like it really like I'm never bored.
yeah.
But also, I don't know, it's fun. But on piano, C major, you know, just one way to play it. Like, don't stress. But like, you know, if we're starting out, there's one way to
We love
play a 1
piano.
octave, you know, piano play. But on guitar, you can play the same like scale, like 4 different positions already, starting
Yeah.
with the same pitches, same, you know, range, same everything. And so yeah, there's plentiful ways to keep yourself busy, you know.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it.
So I feel like sometimes piano players play a lot. Like,
I thought you were going to say something after that.
Yeah.
You just like stop.
If you're like,
do you know what I mean though?
you could always retroactively redact a lot of this stuff, you know. Yeah, I mean, I would too, honestly, if I was a piano player. Like, if I
I
had 10
am
fingers,
God.
yeah. Like, I think the limitations of the instrument with, like, 6 notes at the maximum versus 10 notes at a maximum, you know. Like, I envy what pianists can do. Like, seconds, I can't play cluster voicings for the life of me, because, like, yeah, you gotta, like, really stretch for them. And it's kind of funny, because, like, I tend to talk to some piano players, and they're like, yeah, I like what you can do on guitar, and I'm like, okay, I guess the grass is greener on the other side, right? But yeah, I think it's always very interesting, like the differences that we can see with it, and we can bring back Bridget's original point on like playing guitar, and like it's a lot more exposing, I'd imagine, you know, as a vocalist being supportive guitar than with like 10 fingers, you know. But
How does it leave you more room to do stuff though? Like,
I think like I listened a lot to like the Ella and Joe Paz albums, like all of those albums. Oh, they're so good. And I guess like in talking about space, and talking about, I guess thinking about like the nature of the instruments, like a guitarist is not usually playing as many notes as a pianist, maybe just because of what we were just talking about.
Oh, I can change that real quick.
Or Alejandro doesn't, you know. Joe Paz doesn't. So there's a lot of space, and I feel like I really like that space in the sound, in the songs. I feel like it gives. There was something I heard the other day, and I can't remember who said it, but it was like, it's what you say and then the silence after what you've said. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about giving a good speech and how you leave a pause. And they're like Obama, and I'm like, Obama. Such a great, so good at speeches. But I feel like in music that's also true, where there's some space to like kind of, I don't know, process what you're hearing almost. It's something I think about. But yeah, I think it's with guitar, it's usually there. Like with Alejandro, yeah, he gives you space. I think there is more space, but kind of the song has more space, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little more philosophical than I intended to go.
that's dope.
Yeah, and like even like as a guitarist playing with like other guitarists or like piano players in comparison, like I love playing with piano players, you know, like I was very lucky that in my time in Philly I played with some really great piano players that like were very much encouraging of comping during their comping, and so like it really just like opened up a different layer and like opened up a lot of textural opportunities to like added stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Because like I think with guitar, like especially in like a more instrument situation, you know, it is a really great texture you have, you know. It adds like just texture, in my opinion. That's what it does well. And when you have the harmony being supported by like a bass or like, you know, piano, it gives you more to play into like that percussive element of things and gives you room for it. And so one of the challenges of playing in this type of setup is that how can I incorporate texture into like supportive harmony and, you know, being able to like do so in a way that doesn't sound bad, or at least strive for it not to sound bad, you know.
Yeah.
But what can we do?
Yeah, I think like thinking about those like ensemble settings, like at school, like I'd be in like a combo setting. There'd be like, you know, 2 guitars, 1 pianist, a bassist, 2 trumpets, like, and you kind of have to figure out where you can fit in. And I feel like, I guess an ensemble playing, or when you're with more than 2 people, you know, there's so much grace you give in terms of like, this is your space.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to walk all over your notes right now. I'm going to like, or you want to walk, I'll lay off, like that kind of thing. And I think there's like, that can be difficult though, especially I guess if you haven't been playing together for a long time, you don't know someone's tendencies or how they like to play. So it's always really cool when I see people who've never played before together and they get up there and they play together and I'm like, wow, that was incredible. 3 guitars was perfect. That's all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
And they sounded amazing. It's a really cool part of making music with people. It's like figuring out how you can all fit together within the same room. Yeah.
I think that's part of like having the not so conventional setups too. Back in the Bay, there was a group called Group Sax. It was hella sick, dude. It's like 5 saxophones and 1 drummer.
Okay.
That's excellent.
Yeah, just like watching how everybody comped for each other, and it's like, yo.
That's so cool. It had to be moon glow, way up in the blue. It had to be moon glow that led me straight to you. I still hear you saying, dear one, hold me fast. And I kept on praying, dear Lord, please let this last. We seem to float right through the air. Heavenly songs seem to come from everywhere. And now that there's moon glow way up in the blue, I'll always remember that moon glow brought me you. It had to be moon glow way up in the blue. It had to be moon glow that led me straight to you. I still hear you saying, dear one, hold me fast. And I kept on praying, dear Lord, won't you let this last? We seem to float right through the air. Heavenly songs seem to come from everywhere. And now that there's moon glow way up in the blue, I'll always remember that moon glow brought me you. It had to be moonglow, way up in the blue. Oh, it had to be moonglow that led me straight to you. I still hear you saying, dear one, hold me fast. And I kept on praying, dear Lord, won't you let this last? We seem to float right through the air. Heavenly songs seem to come from everywhere. And now that there's moon glow way up in the blue, I'll always remember that moon glow brought me you. That moon glow brought me you. That moon glow brought me you.
Yeah, you know, like I always feel kind of saddened how especially in this music, it's like very almost overlooked the importance of like being able to have fun with it, or like getting to know someone musically well.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's easier for this type of relationship within lead and harmonic instrument and like to make it happen. But as we were talking last time about like what happened to like the, you know, like the living room sessions of just playing with people and like getting to know people and like doing that, because like now it feels like we're just kind of getting to know people on gigs once a year or twice a year, if that, you know, we get to play with them not that frequently. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like I always think that being a part of it, listening to it, is something that like can be a lot of fun. But I also remember being in situations where I'm just holding on for dear life, trying to like navigate the situation where like I'm not even trying to listen, I'm just trying to float, you know. And
Yeah.
like, especially when there's like expectations set where it's like, this is what a guitar should sound in this type of situation versus here's what we can sound like in this situation. So like, here's what I want you to sound like, and I'm there, I'm like, then why didn't you hire that instead? You know. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but you still say yes because you got to pay your phone bill. You know,
yeah, you know. that's the truth on it.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that like I really appreciate about this is that we have the luxury of playing together often, and like just knowing each other as friends, and you know, like just getting together, playing tunes and stuff like that, where we're able to shine a little bit more and like understand that, which, you know, sometimes helps us pay the phone bill.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
How do you guys figure out, like, tunes wise? Like, are you picking tunes in original keys to work for your voice, or are you guys like agreeing on like a list of tunes in certain keys, or?
I think when we started playing together, I kind of had some songs. I had like, you know, a list of tunes I knew in some keys that I knew them in. And then Alejandro had like, I'm slowly learning a list of tunes that he really loves, which I've come to love.
Harrison Feathers.
Oh, dude! But for
wait,
real,
do you know it?
I don't know it, but like I have been listening to it a lot actually, because it's on my list. I have a list that we made like a year ago, and I still go back to it, and I'm like, okay, I haven't listened to it. I really should learn this song. I know Alejandro loves an artist. Like I gotta learn that tune actually, and so like, I think like there's songs we like learn together. And then, or he'll be like, you know, maybe this in a lower key, actually. And that always sounds better, actually. Like, anytime he has, like, a thought about the key change, I'm like, you know what? This is so much better. Thank you so much. Or he'll like, how does that feel when I'm playing? Like, you know, it doesn't matter what key we're in, just sing, you know, like, see how it feels. And I'm like, that was amazing. And he's like, yeah, see, like, I know your voice, like, and I'm like, thank you so much for suggesting that. Because sometimes, like, I'll play it safe. Like, I'll play it in a higher key. because like that part of my voice is more developed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always have as many colors or like different colors in the lower range. So I guess we kind of have a list of tunes we both have memorized, maybe several hours worth of music, and just kind of go.
Yeah, we can repeat one song for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think on guitar, it's honestly transposition can be kind of easy just because we can just shift it there. But I truly wish my brain worked like that. I kind of think about it a little bit too much, and so like I kind of have to learn them individually. Which is kind of silly because you would expect to just move it down, no problem.
I wouldn't expect that. That's
I would. 'Cause, like, I play with other guitar players and like, oh, this plays down a half step, and so I'm there and it just rephrases everything in my head. I'm like, holy shit, what is this? Even though I could just like blindly just do it, I guess, but I need to understand it to feel comfortable with it, and so I have to truly know it in that key. But something that I really appreciate about the way like I get like knowing to play with you and stuff like that is that like we're trying to figure out like things, and I'm like, yo, okay, there's these things that like I heard this shine, like these like this range of this one song shined in this, and like let's see if we can add that to like this other song that we've been playing maybe like a couple steps higher than you were playing the other song in. And playing with other people and like similar ranges, similar voices gives me more ideas. I'm like, oh well, this sounds really good, the way to do it here, let's try it here, or like, hey, let's try this and this, and like being open to it is something that's like really fun, and being able to like experiment with it I think is great. But sometimes when you're singing in a weird ass key, it's like, oh, this, and I'm like, oh shit. But it works out for the cause, you gotta do it for the cause.
the cause. I try to avoid really weird keys, but
I welcome them. I think they're a lot of fun.
sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of the original keys, because so many of these tunes, especially anything from like the 1930s or early 40s, are from like musicals or movies. And you go back and you listen to the original recordings, they have a verse, and then they have the chorus, which is what we're playing usually. And the singer, it's a soprano, and she's singing in a really high key.
Yeah.
Lots of vibrato, like totally different, like fully orchestrated. It's a show tune. Like Blue Skies was from a musical, and the first time that, I think it was Blue Skies, like the first time they played it, had like the crowd was like, play it again for like 14, like over like 20, like they wanted it so many times because they didn't have recordings back then. So like if you went to a show live, that's another crazy thing about these tunes is I'm like, wow, like people didn't have record players. Like you'd go to a show, you'd hear it, and then you may never hear the song again unless you somehow found that record, which is like crazy to think about how ephemeral music was. Like, I guess I think about that sometimes because of how easy it is to access now. Like, I feel so blessed, but then sometimes I'm like, it's interesting to think about the mindset of somebody who didn't have that access, like, I don't know. It's like kind of a different tangent, but
that's cool.
Yeah.
I guess that brings us the question as well is like, as like musicians, like, how do you shift between like active listening, like proactive listening where you're sitting there like really seeing every color of it versus like being able to kind of turn that off and like listen to it for more enjoyable purposes, whatever that may entail.
I don't know.
Do you?
I mean, when I listen to it, when I listen to stuff, it's always, I want to, anytime I listen to stuff, the first goal is to enjoy it, right? If you're not enjoying it, then why bother? So that's the first goal. Unless I'm actually sitting down trying to figure stuff out, my, like, the intellectual brain thing doesn't turn on. I think. But yeah, I'll just sit down and listen to stuff, and I won't really try and figure it out unless I have to play it, maybe.
Yeah. Because
like even when I really like all the, oh, hi buddy. I really like all the songwriter stuff, right? All the James Taylor stuff and like all the Damien Rice stuff. So I listen to that stuff for like enjoyment, but I'll never like really try and figure it out until I have to play it. So my main gig right now is with this songwriter, right? And he's so specific to the point where every ghost note has to be there.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
So like doing that, it's like then I'm like the intellectual part of the brain turns on.
For
it's
sure.
Like, yo,
Oh. Oh.
Cute.
So cute. Yeah, I feel like it's when you're talking about like different ways of listening to music. I guess like sometimes you have to tune it out. Like I'm in the grocery store and I'm like dancing, and then I'm like, oh wait, I like have not bought coffee. I need to go find the coffee. You know, I guess like one of the things people ask me a lot, especially because going to music school, they're like, so do you feel like going to music school makes you enjoy music more or less? And I was like, oh, that's the hard question. And I feel like the answer is I had to work more to continue to enjoy it. Because I think that for me, there were a lot of times when music became something that it was the thing that like, you know, when like an athlete, they're like their muscles are getting destroyed and stuff. I feel like it was like maybe like a little bit my love for music was like getting like a little like pushed down. I had to like build it back up. We were talking about this earlier. And I think that like when I was younger, I had this really like open like sensibility towards it. I didn't really have a lot of preconceptions about it. And then some preconceptions were sort of placed upon me, and I'm trying to like lift them off and be like, nah, I don't need all that. This is great. This sounds incredible. It doesn't need to sound a certain way, you know? But it's like, I do think sometimes it's hard to get out of that analytical brain and kind of go at it purely for the joy of it. I don't know if that's something you...
Yeah, similar actually.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great way to put it. I think obviously, you know, the relationship with music school and music is a tale as old as time, right? But one of the things that like I like about, I guess, trying to learn music to a higher degree is that it allows you to enjoy it after you push a certain threshold, right? Like I know some people that are a little bit impatient when it comes to listening to music that's not like stimulating. You know, there's like a pop punk band and it's like the same 3 chords and you're like, man, I can't listen to this anymore, you know, it's so boring, you know. And I'm like, dude, but there's more to it than just, you know, like complexity, right?
But sometimes with music like that too, right? When you listen to it, it's like, okay, that's cool. But then when you see it with movement, you're like, okay, I get it now. You know, like like when you play with like an Afrobeat band, all the EJ Shaw shit, you know, all the you know, it's like the music's cool, but then it has to, the movement's part of it. The energy in the room is part of it. Like,
yeah, like I don't really think music was meant to be enjoyed in a recording situation, you know, because like most, like I feel like most places, like
Angry,
so cute.
sassy. Why is she's her tail right now? She's like, what are you doing?
Stealing the show and she knows it. Yeah.
she likes music a lot though. Like, watch when you guys want to play a tune, watch, she's just gonna chill.
Oh,
Sure.
that's awesome. What were you saying that you were saying, like music being enjoyed and like the...
Like, I think that, for example, it's kind of like learning a language. I know music and languages get really put there together, but like, I don't know, you ever have, like, you overhear a conversation in a different language and, like, you don't speak it, but you can get the feeling of it. It's like, yeah, this is awesome, this is great, you know, they feel like they're having an awesome, happy conversation over there. Or if you're, like, at a diner and, like, there's, like, these Eastern European people breaking up in like a language that you don't recognize. You can tell
such
the
a specific
tone.
example.
But you can tell the language is like there's a feeling there, and so like I feel like most people that like passively enjoy music, that's what they hear. They feel the emotion of it. That's where there's a stronger connection emotionally to music than there is to like the analytical nerds, you know.
I think so, man. I mean, like, music is an emotional thing, right? I mean, whenever someone says, oh man, yeah, I wasn't born music, dude, if you hear something, you feel something, you have it, you're born with it, you know. That's simple as that. And like you said, music's a language. It's not universal. You gotta like learn whatever language that is to be able to communicate with whoever.
Yeah, that's the big one. So like we're in a diner and I can hear this conversation, I get the gist of it. Or like I hear a joke in their language and like I'm there, I'm like, oh, that sounds happy, that sounds fun. And like sometimes you're just walking around, you keep hearing it over and over again, and you start like, oh, haha, that's fun. That's the punchline, right? I remember the inflection that I heard it here or something. And so let's say time passes, you slowly like educate yourself to understand that language. And now when you're learning there, you're in the trenches, you're there like learning the vocabulary, learning how to speak, the colloquial terms, like the, you know, slang terms, all this other stuff. Then you go back to the diner, you start hearing the stuff. You start hearing more context to it. There's like a bigger picture. The setup's significantly longer than you thought. The punchline hits harder. It's like a triple pun or something, and it's like it's a whole thing. But then you're still learning it, so you're not really getting the full thing. And I think you get to a point where like you understand the language enough that you can be a part of the joke and like really appreciate it fully. And I feel that way with music, where like I listen to something like passively, and it's like, okay, I feel this way about it. But then if I sit down and I try to learn what's going on, I can understand it. And then it's like, oh, wait, there's way more to it going on. And after that, a lot of time, I feel like I spent a few years just truly focusing on that. We're like, oh, what's going on? And now I'm getting back to a point where like I can listen to something and be like, I know what's going on. And because I know what's going on, I can almost appreciate it a little bit more than I would have if I just would have passively listened to it. So, but it's like a whole, you know, cycle of like, I had to learn it to like kind of just ignore it, you know, or at least move past the point where I cared enough to like focus on it a lot,
or just to be fluent enough, you know, to be able to communicate. Because like when you think about language, we think about accents and all this stuff. You have a British accent, you have an Australian accent, like, and so like all your metal stuff you grew up with, right? That's part of your accent when you play jazz, right? So you're speaking jazz, but with a metal accent.
I think so. You know, like I'd be surprised. Like at this point in time, you know, who knows? Who knows? Who truly knows? But,
who truly knows?
No.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, feisty.
She just wants to sit. She doesn't want to be touched.
Oh.
Like, such a diva. I'm gonna put my hand over here. You better not scratch me.
Teach you so much about boundaries. Cats are like...
Yeah.
I want 3.5 pats. You know.
No more. You can look at my tummy, but don't touch it.
Yeah.
Even though I want you to look, but I don't want you to touch. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte después. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, verte junto a mí. Piensa que tal vez mañana yo ya estaré lejos, muy lejos de ti. Bésame. Bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte después. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte después. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, verte junto a mí. Piensa que tal vez mañana yo ya estaré lejos, muy lejos de ti. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte, perderte después. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte, perderte después. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, verte junto a mí. Piensa que tal vez mañana yo ya estaré lejos, muy lejos de ti. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte, perderte después. Que tengo miedo perderte, perderte después. Que tengo miedo, que miedo perderte. Perderte después.
It's because I feel like, you know, sometimes we take gigs a little bit loosely, especially if it's reoccurring. It's like, yeah, we can do whatever we want, you know. Let's play Autumn Leaves 5 different styles back to back for an hour.
Like, I'm cool with that if, like, everyone else on the bandstand is on board.
Yeah,
and that's
sure.
what that is. Like, last night, dude, we were just moving tune to tune. No one said anything, playing a bunch of weird stuff. Someday My Prince Will Come in 4 is pretty fun.
Damn, I missed out. You guys playing all the cool stuff when I left.
Oh, wait. Okay, wait. Hold on. Hold on. How's that?
Someday my prince will come.
Some
It's pretty sick, dude.
I'll find my
Yeah.
and how happy that moment will be. When all my dreams comes to me. He'll whisper, I love you.
Yeah.
And steal a kiss or two. Oh, that's so
sick,
good.
right?
Oh my god,
It's
I love
so
it.
sick.
I love that actually so much.
Yeah.
It sounds really good in 4.
It does. And then Johanny was playing super loose, like Anthony was playing super loose,
Yeah,
like we're just
yeah.
playing all the color,
Those
like
guys together, I mean, I love them so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a classical open mic I host, which is why once a month.
What's a classical open mic?
Dude, it's it's basically like I've been doing it for like a little over a year. We get a good crowd now. But it's basically exactly what it sounds like. We all come through to a church with a really nice piano and a really great acoustic. I don't bring any of my sound gear. It's completely acoustic. And people go up and we have like a house pianist who accompanies if people need it. But we get some like pretty cool stuff. I'm like, it's open to all genres. Like if you want to like do whatever you want, we get like some singer-songwriters who come in just to like try stuff out.
Sick.
But it's very much like completely quiet. We're in a church and people are like, it's like an hour and a half. And then I stand up and I'm like, you guys, that was awesome. Like, let's give them another round of applause. Like that original music. Who? What? Amazing.
So where is this at?
This is in Arlington at a Cherrydale United Methodist Church. And then we have a little reception afterwards with like bubbly non-alcoholic drinks and like charcuterie. And
That's dope.
It's pretty dope. And so like it's funny to like have been doing it like every month because it feels like they just keep coming and I'm like, oh man, like this just keeps happening.
It's like a phone bell. You're like, springs up on you. Who said that?
Yeah. No, I have to be the timekeeper. I'm like, it's a 5 to 7 minute slot.
Yeah.
And you need to, you know, it can be challenging to be like, I think it's difficult when you're trying to facilitate like a space for people to create.
Yeah.
And then because you're the facilitator, you also have to be like the box. You have to make a box because otherwise like no one will have time. Like it doesn't work. Like you have to put like, and it's interesting to try to figure out like where are those boundaries and like how do I put them up like kindly but firmly. Like this is a kind and firm boundary of like can't go over 10 minutes.
Have you ever heard of classical revolution?
I have, yeah.
So it's when you said like classical open mics, it's kind of like that. So that was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
In the smallest like cafe, like Italian style cafe, you know, like just a bunch of like chamber orchestra people will come and play.
I feel like I heard about it during COVID. This idea, it started as like they're called Death by Aria, and which is like a horrible, but it's like a thing in classical like singer stuff. And people just like come through and they just sing arias. You know, you just stand up and you sing an aria, and people are like, oh, like let's do this one, like whatever. And that's the thing people do in this area too. There's a bunch of really great classical singers who have like some death by arias they do. Oh. It sounds really like rough, but it's actually really fun. Like you stand up and you sing like an aria about like, you know, your mom was just murdered and you're sitting there like tearing out your soul and you're like, I can't believe my husband left me. Actually, I killed him. And it's like, you know, like those are the arias. But it started out as that, and then we like opened it up because,
Sick.
You know, why not? So. Night and day, you are the one. Only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are, I think of you. Night and day, night and day. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roar of traffic's boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you. Night and day, day and night, under the hide of me, there's an oh such a hungry yearning burning inside of torment won't be through till you've let me spend my life making love to you. I think of you night and day, night and day. You are the one, only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are. I think of you night and day, day and night. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roar of traffic's boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you night and day, day and night. Under the hide of me, there's such a hungry yearning burning inside of me, and this torment won't be through till you've let me spend my life making sweet love to you. I think of you night and day. The sun, whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are. I think of you night and day, day and night. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roar of traffic's boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you night and day, day and night. Under the hide of me, there's such a hungry yearning burning inside of me, and this torment won't be through till you've let me spend my life making love to you. I think of you night and day, night and day, night and day.
I haven't played for you in so long.
Huh?
I haven't played with you in so long.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I've been like moving and stuff, and
You guys were doing that Freddy's Beach thing every week for a minute, right? And like,
not
I think-
every week. We're
yeah.
just kind of like in the rotation of musicians.
yeah,
That was a yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I remember seeing that. It's like, oh yeah,
Dude, wow. I like never think about people seeing anything I put on social media. I'm just sort of like, I'm just like throwing, like, whatever. No one's gonna, like, whatever. I'm just slapping it around. And then like people are like, I saw you were in this place, and I'm like, how did you know?
no.
sing to the sun in the sky. I'll sing while the sun rises high. Carnival time is here, magical time of year. And as the time draws near, dreams lift my heart. I'll sing while I play my guitar. I'll cling to this dream from afar. Will true love come my way on this carnival day? Or will love stay in my heart? But day, but a day, da da day. But it da 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 day, but day didn't da ba I. Do da didn't da 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 day. But they didn't do that day. But da day, but da 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 day. But day, but da 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 day. So lo do da da day, da 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 day, la da, so da da day. Ba 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 bye, ba 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 bye, ba 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 ba. I didn't ba 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 ba. So da ba ba ba. I'll sing to the sun in the sky. I'll sing while the sun rises high. Carnival time is here, magical time of year. And as the time draws near, dreams lift my heart. I'll sing while I play my guitar. I'll cling to this dream from afar. Will true love come my way on this carnival day? Or will love stay in my heart? Will true love come my way on this carnival day? Or will I be alone with my dream? Lo do